To celebrate the return of football, Tifo is offering 30-day free trials to The Athletic, the home of the world's best football writing. In April 2016, at a dinner held before Manchester City's Champions League tie with Paris Saint-Germain, Andrea Radrizzani found himself in a conversation with Kenny Dalglish. Somehow, the topic of buying football clubs arose, and according to Radrizzani's telling, the Liverpool icon had only one recommendation for the wide-eyed Italian: Leeds United. 13 months later, Radrizzani would complete a takeover from Massimo Cellino. In January 2017, he purchased an initial 50% of Cellino's stake, and before spring had turned to summer, he'd acquired the rest, in addition to purchasing Elland Road for £20 million from Teak Commercial Limited. 3.5 years later, following a generation of dysfunction, Marcelo Bielsa has brought Premier League football back, and the £65 million that Radrizzani has parted with looks like money very well spent. But who is he? Well, now 45 years old, Radrizzani, who was born and raised in a town outside of Milan, is estimated to be worth nearly £500 million, the bulk of which was raised through expertise in rights distribution. He gained a degree in public relations from university, and before turning 30 and having left Italy to work in Shanghai, Tokyo, Singapore, and eventually London, he became a founding partner of MP and Silva, a company specialising in acquiring and then reselling the broadcast rights to sporting events. The company was formed in 2004 and began a quick ascent to becoming a major player in the sporting world, initially selling rights on behalf of a few select teams in Serie A. By 2006, that portfolio had grown to comprise a majority of the clubs in the league. Italian football would, in Radrizzani's own words, become a flagship property for MP and Silva. But it was also a starting point. Over the next decade, Radrizzani and his partners would expand the company's interests, selling broad tranches of broadcasting rights from major European football leagues all over the world, including to Asian and Middle Eastern broadcasters. MP and Silva would also expand beyond football. In 2011, the company was awarded the European rights to the French Open over 5 years. In December 2013, it bought the rights to distribute Formula One in the Middle East and North Asia. And in 2014, it paid $50 million to distribute the NFL in all European countries outside the UK and Germany. In 2016, with MP and Silva independently valued at over $1 billion, a controlling stake of 65% was sold to a group of Chinese investors. But Radrizzani's interests and influence were already widening. He and MP and Silva had worked in the Premier League with Arsenal, helping to broaden the club's presence with their involvement in back-to-back tours to China and Southeast Asia. In 2016, he served as an advisor to the Suning Group, owners of the Chinese Super League side Jiangsu Suning, during their purchase of Inter Milan. Quoted in La Gazzetta dello Sport, Radrizzani identified himself as the key influence behind the takeover and Suning's decision to invest. Most notably, in 2015, Radrizzani launched the 11 Sports Network. Billed as Netflix for sports and created through the Acer Group, the investment company through which Radrizzani would later buy Leeds United, 11 launched with all sorts of regional variants and with an aggression, optimism and entrepreneurial spirit characteristic of its founder's career. It expanded quickly across Western Europe, acquiring the rights to show Formula One, Serie A, La Liga and the Bundesliga in Poland. In Belgium, it continues to hold many of the same rights, in addition to broadcasting UFC events and European ice hockey. In 2020, 11 also won a 5-year contract to show the native Jupiler League 2. The company employs a subscription-based model on localizing sport and adapting to specific regional tastes. In Italy, it won the rights to Serie C and D. In Portugal, it acquired and broadcast the World Padel Tennis Tour. And in Burma, where Leeds United would controversially tour in 2018, 11 shows the national team's football fixtures, as well as the English FA Cup, Serie A and the Chinese Super League. 11 also holds the broadcasting rights to the Premier League in Taiwan and in Japan, where it launched in 2019. It shows minor league baseball free to air. And in the United States, in addition to the World Surfing Championships, Belgian football and specific NCAA sports, subscribers also have access to bowling's Weber Cup and the Ultimate Disc League. Now, Radrizzani did not enjoy the same success in the UK. In 2012, 11's audacious acquisition of La Liga and Serie A rights ended in quick failure, with the packages relinquished amid a failure to secure distribution deals with the native broadcasters and complaints about rampant piracy. Radrizzani's Acer Group is also home to a range of different brands within the sports and media industries, which in some cases have been used to cross-pollinate each other. In 2019, for instance, Tifo Studios, who are also under the Acer banner, produced Take Us Home, a documentary based on Leeds United's 2018-19 season, which was narrated by Russell Crowe and released on Amazon Prime. Among its future projects is also a documentary feature on Paris Saint-Germain, who are owned by Qatari Sports Investments, whose chairman, Nasser al-Khelaifi, is a longtime friend of Radrizzani. Al-Khelaifi and Radrizzani worked together on deals for television rights packages in the Middle East and have maintained a friendship ever since, giving rise to the assumption that they would eventually collaborate more formally. In 2018, 10% of Leeds United was purchased by 49er Enterprises, the investment arm of San Francisco's NFL franchise. In 2019, it was believed that KSI were also about to become a stakeholder, when Radrizzani was pictured alongside al-Khelaifi at Parc des Princes during PSG's Champions League game against Club Bruges. According to The Times' Martin Ziegler, he was there to negotiate the terms of a takeover, in a move which would allow Leeds to compete with Manchester City. However, in a spring 2020 interview with Sky Italia, Radrizzani acknowledged the rumours and the friendship, but said that while their desire to potentially cooperate in football remained, there was nothing concrete at this time. But that could change. In the same interview, conducted during the recent lockdown, Radrizzani spoke of his desire to have a great Leeds that is a protagonist in the Premier League, and also promising to evaluate this situation when we're in that league. When he completed his takeover in 2017, Radrizzani announced that he was giving himself 5 years to achieve promotion. He arrives after just 3 years, ahead of schedule. A sometimes vague and contradictory character, prone to both compulsiveness, risk-taking, and careful consideration. We're offering 30-day free trials to The Athletic, where you'll find the work of the marvellous Phil Hay. Available now is the definitive read on Marcelo Bielsa, 16 years of hurt, the biggest comeback in English football, and more amongst the best coverage of Leeds United that you'll find anywhere. The Athletic cares about your club and have dedicated journalists covering every Premier League team and more, not to mention 10 other sports. So, see the link in the description to join up and try The Athletic for free for 30 days. Thanks for watching today's video.